Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Smart Girls Breakout session. I am going to begin recording our session as well as streaming to YouTube. That is going to start right now. And with that, I will hand it over to Lauren Barano.
Hi, welcome everyone. We are thrilled to have you with us for our Smart Girls Breakout session. My name is Lauren Barano, and I'm a staff member at the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, and I'm one of the staff leaders helping to support this session. For this session, we just wanted to let everyone know that you are on mute, and we are really encouraging the use of the chat box today as a way to communicate with each other and as a way to communicate and put in questions for our fabulous speaker this afternoon. So if you do have a question for the speaker, please put it in the chat box or work with your club advisor to help you do that, especially if you all are working or listening as a group. We want to send a huge thank you to Dove, which is this year's Smart Girls session sponsor. Dove supports Smart Girls programming through the Dove Self-Esteem Project. This is the largest provider of self-esteem education in the world. And by providing club staff training and Dove self-esteem programming and events for clubs across the country, you're a part of that. The Dove Self-Esteem Project has reached over 60 million young people globally with self-esteem education. And by 2030, Dove's goal is to help 250 million kids build their positive body image so that the next generation, people just like all of you, grow up enjoying a positive relationship with the way that they look and with self-esteem so that they realize their full potential. So now I'd like to introduce Marina, a member of the Minot Air Force Base Youth Activity Center, who will officially kick off this Smart Girls session. Marina, take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm a member of your Keystone Steering Committee, here to welcome Dove self-esteem educator, Dre Brown, our inspiring speaker for today's session. In addition to being a self-esteem ambassador for Dove, Dre is an empowerment speaker and makeup artist who is driven to infuse each creative encounter with joy-inducing laughter. As a beauty professional and speaker, Dre seeks to offer both something for the eye and something for the soul. Southern-born with big city savvy, this free spirit sees her approach to beauty as a vehicle through which she cultivates delight and empowerment in those she reaches. Something really cool to note is that Dre is a self-taught makeup artist and has been working with celebrities and brands that we all love for more than 15 years now, including Comedy Central, Sephora, HBO, Cosmopolitan Magazine, Kevin Durant, Olympic gold medalist Gabby Douglas, and musician Jason Derulo. Dre has been working with Dove since 2014 and has led several inspiring sessions, including a few with the Boys and Girls Club. We cannot be more excited to have her here today. Thank you for joining us, Dre.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, BGCA. As Marina mentioned, thank you so much for that warm introduction. I'm Dre Brown, and I am a proud self-esteem educator for Dove. And what that means is I have the honor of working with phenomenal youth just like you every day to ensure you know your value and your uniqueness. I'm excited to be back for another Keystone. I love the Smart Girl session, and I always enjoy being invited to come. And though this year is a little different, the importance of gathering to celebrate each of you is just as great. So I just want to thank you again and congratulate each of you on being amazing leaders in your clubs, your schools, and your communities.
Thank you, Dre. Before we kick things over to you, I'd like to introduce Shakira and Taylor on the steering committee, who will be asking you a few questions.
Hi, I'm Shakira from the Boys and Girls Club of Benton County.
Hi.
And I'm Taylor from Joint Base Andrews Youth Center. We are members of the National Keystone Conference Steering Committee, and we are excited to serve as your interviewers today. Jay, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So I get the honor to kick us off today, so I have the first question. Dre, as we all know, We have been at home and socially distancing due to coronavirus for a few months now, and the world looks really different from what it looked like back in February. Even today, we have had to come together virtually. Knowing we're spending much more time by ourselves, what are your tips for practicing well-being and care at home?
Wow. Thank you, Shakira. That's a really, really good question. 2020 has ushered in a new normal for all of us. In the midst of a global pandemic, we're forced to embrace social distancing and self-isolation for the safety of ourselves and others. And with the internet and social media as our main means of connecting with the outside world, the lines between our real life and our virtual lives, they can often blur. Home is now the office for some of your parents, it's school for each of you. And in the palms of your hands, whether it's your phone or your laptop, are your classrooms. But not only that, it's your circles of friends, your social media influencers that you follow, and sometimes your bullies and your harshest critics. Operating our lives online, for some of us, while consuming like a consistent stream of potentially triggering news stories, can be like the perfect storm, a recipe for self-consciousness, insecurity, and anxiety. Couple that with the pressures of physically disconnecting from our friends and missing milestones like sporting events, prom, or graduation. Keeping your spirits up in quarantine can get pretty tough. Questions might start bubbling up in your head, like, what if someone I know gets coronavirus? I mean, some of you may even already know someone that's been affected. Or, I hate staring at myself on these video calls day after day. Do I always look this bad? Or what if I never get to go back to school? All of these thoughts are real. And as they rise up in our minds, our confidence and our self-esteem can suffer. But thankfully, Dove has created some really, really great tools and resources for kids and parents who are experiencing some challenges with this new normal. They've been created specifically with isolation in mind. And our Dove Self-Esteem Project resources are completely free and just clicks away on that same phone or that same laptop via dove.com/self-esteem. But for now, as far as tips on how to find the bright side while we're all staying inside, I wanted to share with you guys a few of the things that serve me, but I know will offer you some support for your self-esteem while you're in isolation. So, tip number 1, move your body. When stir craziness gets pretty crazy, stir it up. Get active. It can help rev up your mood or even give you extra energy. My go-to is the solo dance party. Create a playlist that makes you happy and turn it up. My go-to is moving my body, even if no one else is there with me, because it's a party. And so you can even share it with your friends. I like to call in some of my friends, share the playlist and say, look, I need a dance break in 2 hours. I'm just having one of those days. Schedule it. Make it a whole event. You can do those things, or you can even just take a walk or pick up a sport you used to enjoy. Using your body is a way to reconnect to the outside world, even if you can't go out. But while you're doing all of this, it's a great time to just appreciate your body for what it can do. A key step in developing healthy body confidence, first, is to appreciate your body for its capability, not just for how it looks. Each day, identify 3 bodily functions that you're really grateful for. For example, your hands. They allow you to write poetry or create art. Your legs, they help you with that solo dance party. Don't knock it till you try it. It's really fun. Or even like your nervous system, where it's like, hey, Dre, I need a break. It's time to close that laptop, back away, and just chill out a little bit. Thank your body for all of the ways that it supports you, whether you're inside or out. My second tip, get dressed. Staying at home can definitely make our pajamas the uniform of choice. However, getting dressed might actually pep up your vibe, pick a theme, style yourself. Add a few accessories, change your hair, whatever. Getting creative can never go wrong, trust me. And number 3, you want to shuffle your self-talk. Staying in can often remind us of all the things we can't do. But what can we do? Challenge yourself to affirm your possibilities when you start to talk yourself into a funk. I can't go to the movies. Yes, it's very true, you can't. But I can binge a whole season of my favorite show and my dog can come with me. I dare you to try that at the movie theater. Just saying. Another great mental exercise that I like to do is stand in front of the mirror and practice saying 5 things that I like about myself or about my personality. And it might feel weird at first, but give it a shot. It's something that you want to start working on, like stretching a muscle. I might say, I like my smile. And that's something I have whether I'm inside or outside, whether I'm self-isolating or on a video call. I have my smile and I appreciate it. My sense of humor. I love to affirm that. Try thinking right now of one thing about your body and one thing about your personality that you really love that make you feel good about yourself. And say it to yourself. Imagine just you're standing in front of that mirror and give yourself a second. It might feel weird at first, but it's something you get to practice. I love that exercise because what it does is it starts to give me utility of the way I speak to myself. And after a while, you'll start to notice that your self-talk is actually sounding more supportive and it'll get easier with time. Trust me. On top of staying at home, we're all being met with a lot of worrying topics on the news or on social media. So it's important that we have a toolkit to just keep our minds focused and our spirits high while we're navigating a lot of uncertainty. So I'm hoping you like these tips because they're definitely helping me. As you can see, I'm at home, and I hope they help you too.
Thanks, Dre. Those are really helpful tips. I think it's especially important to shift your self-talk. We can all benefit from that. And I know many of us may be wondering about topics of racial injustice, especially as it may be impacting our own communities. Dre, we like to hear your thoughts on this and how you deal with anxieties around all that's happening with Black Lives Matter, especially during the pandemic.
Yes, Taylor. Thank you. I appreciate that question, and it's a really important question. I know I just talked about, being at home and the coronavirus, but while we're dealing with that, the U.S. is also experiencing a civil rights renaissance that's elevated our collective understanding and awareness of injustice and systemic oppression of Black Americans. There's a lot of heavy things to think about while we're navigating our new normal and the regular lives that we have to carry on, whether it's work or family or school. One of the most important things that I want you all to remember is to just give yourself some space to take it day by day. We're spending a lot of time being there for others and reading what's going on, and it's okay to not feel happy all the time. It's okay to not be on it all the time. You're doing the best you can, and that's enough. One thing I want you to remember while you're collecting tools and tips today is to take notice of your emotions. Do a check-in. Be mindful. It's a part of your resource to know what your body needs. It also gives you time to step away from all of the messages that are coming at you and create a space to feel peaceful and calm, just to clear your head. You could try focusing on your breathing and with a simple exercise. I use this all the time because I do a lot of Zoom calls for work and I'm always connecting. So sometimes I have to take a second, even though I'm at home, and just ground myself. I take a couple of deep breaths and I feel better instantly. It really reconnects my mind. I want to try it with you guys, if that's okay. So wherever you are, I want you to just ground yourself. I want you to put your feet flat on the floor and just relax and close your eyes. It's really easy, guys. We're going to breathe in through our nose, counting to 5 in our head. And at the top, I want you to just hold that air in the heart of your belly and think about something that makes you happy. And then before you exhale, I want you to start counting again and slowly release that breath, counting to 5. Let's do it. Inhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, hold it. Find that really joyful thought at the top. All right, now exhale through your mouth slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want you to do that one more time with me so we can really feel how it feels. We're going to take a deep breath in. Hold it at the top with that positive, joyful voice in your head, whatever that moment you're thinking about. All right, now let's give a nice exhale. It might feel a little weird, but these are ways that your body actually works with your mind to calm itself. You can do that for 2 to 3 minutes, and I promise you, it will start to feel really natural and allow you to step back from whatever you're doing to give yourself a moment of rest. And if you feel overwhelmed by conversations that you're reading online or you're hearing about race and injustice, or you see something that just makes you feel sad or uncomfortable, you always have the option to reach out and talk to your parent, an adult, a mentor, a teacher, your club leader, or even an older sibling about it. By connecting with other people, we can improve our mood. We share our experiences. We can feel more accepted. And most of all, we're just supporting each other. Take your time, but take your mind off of things when you need to. You just want to give yourself that moment. You could even organize something that will make you unplug. That's a big, big support in the times we're in. Turn off the phones and laptops, plan a family talent show in the living room. I definitely love to see some of those. Or pick up an arts and craft idea and do it with your friends at home or with your family, or even simply just cook dinner together. Some element of connection can allow you to reinforce those bonds, but also just feel supported and have time to talk about some of these feelings that might be coming up. What I want people to really understand when we're talking about this idea of Black Lives Matter and justice, especially when it's happening around the country and it may be happening to people or in communities close to you, is that there's a lot of points of view in this conversation. But at the heart of it is the understanding that historically and right now, Black and brown people have been hurt by not feeling treated equally. For instance, the Crown Act, which Dove advocates, has stood up for young Black and brown girls and boys who were singled out and punished at school simply for wearing their natural hair and curly fros or twists or braids. And I'm sure you all can think back to a time when you felt left out or hurt. These experiences can impact how we feel about ourselves emotionally and about our appearance. So while this movement is showing up in our lives, we get to keep that in mind and be compassionate. We can each do our own part for protecting and standing up for ourselves and each other. But I advise you, take your time and don't feel pressured to do or say anything before you truly feel ready. At the end of the day, we've all got a lot to adjust to. But if we support each other and ourselves by remembering our worth, our potential, we can surely handle whatever lies ahead. So I want you all to continue to be your phenomenal selves, the wonderful young leaders you are, because I believe in you and Dove's got your back. Trust me.
Dre, those tips were amazing. I'm over here breathing in with you. Like,
did you enjoy
phenomenal.
that?
Yes, I really did. It was nice to kind of take that time to myself and just breathe in. So that was perfect. We have a question from the chat. Someone
Oh,
was wondering, with cyberbullying, do you think that impacts self-esteem?
I absolutely do. When we're online and we are living our lives, like I said, primarily through social media, it's really easy for people and things that can target us in those spaces to impact how we feel about ourselves. You know, my advice right now is this: being inside is a great time to think about how we create a positive social conversation. A lot of times we think about what we take in, but what about what we put out? We can inspire others to post positive and inspiring things by doing that ourselves. If you're experiencing something or you want to see more of something, be an example. So that could be like posting pictures that reflect all the new things you're trying while you're isolating, whether that's your art or your fashion or maybe your dance parties. Also, focus on things that make you feel good. Share inspiring quotes. I love a good inspiring meme. Or even mantras or some of the things that you're affirming to yourself while you're re-evaluating your self-talk. You never know how it might inspire someone. But if you feel that there's something online that's truly triggering you or you're being bullied, one thing I is this is time to do some housekeeping with your social feed. You can go and look at who you're following and what you're following. And if something makes you feel sad or uncomfortable or angry, you can unfollow that person or block their comments or block those people who are creating tension or triggering you to not feel great about yourself while we're all navigating this world through our online lives. These are tools that you can control to make sure that everything that's coming through supports you. And it's not going to be easy because we have so many things online that we don't know what's coming at us. But I promise you, with what we've shared today and these tips, you're going to build up a really, really strong toolkit that will make you an online warrior. And I hope that some of these are landing for whoever asked the question, because it is something that we think about at Dove a lot. And we know that you all are experiencing a lot. So again, we've got your back.
That's a great question, as well as a great response. Another great question is, I start my first day of high school August 13th. Do you have any tips?
First day of school. Are you going, do we know if this is online or are we going to school in person by chance? Either way, let's say no matter what, however you're showing up for that first day of high school, I remember mine, it was pretty awesome. I think what my tip would be is remember how awesome you are. One of the biggest things about going into a new environment, whether it's high school or a new job or who knows, is always the pressure of, is someone going to like me? Am I going to make friends? How will I find my way around? A lot of anxiety can build up in your spirit about that. But remembering what makes you great, doing those morning affirmations in the mirror to tell yourself, I'm cool, I'm funny, I'm a great friend, I'm smart, I'm a smart girl. Whatever reminds you of the things that make you great, that's a great way to start that first day of school. And remember that on the other side of it are a bunch of other kids that are doing the same thing. They're all entering a new space. So make friends, walk ins, and be yourself, because you have something to offer. And trust me, it's going to be a really exciting day.
I needed you about 4 years ago. Just hearing that, I'm just like, oh my gosh. We have another question from the chat. It's a great response. I just lost it. How has the pandemic impacted you or your career?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, welcome into my living room, BGCA. I spent a lot of time, thank you. That's also a great question, by the way. I've spent a lot of time in my career traveling. Before the pandemic, I was on the planes quite often, but what it has done for me is very similar to what I said. It's given me a chance to ground myself in the things that really matter to me. I've taken up a lot of new hobbies. I'm now a plant mom. I started gardening, and it's really great for relaxing me and reminding me that I can create things. I never knew I could grow something and actually eat it. I am really proud of myself. But more than anything, I've reconnected with my family. I've definitely had days where I'm, not feeling that great, being stuck inside. But I always remember that I have resources and I reach out, I connect with people who love me. And I also know that there's another side to this. We're going to get through this. And I'm very grateful because I've been able to still do what I love to do, which is this. And even with technology, we make it happen. And so it's been interesting, but I'm rolling with it.
It's always good to pick up new hobbies. Another question that we have from the chat is, what are some tips to get motivated when you feel like not doing anything?
Oh, well, that's easy. You get kind of bored. You're like, well, I did those 5 things yesterday. I don't really want to do them again. I would always say that what motivates me is just starting. I don't always know how to do everything well. But one of the things, especially with the new hobbies that I tried, I just started. I didn't know if I was going to be any good. I was pretty sure that every plant that I planted was surely going to die. But I said, you know what? I need to give myself a shot. So if you're not feeling motivated, make a list of things that you're remotely interested in. And look at the thing that has the least amount of effort just so you could just get started. So maybe it is, I want to do one of those solo dance parties. Doesn't take anything to just start, hop over and start making that playlist. I bet by the time you finish that playlist, you're going to be like, well, I do want to kind of see how it feels when I play it. So I promise you, you will not be bored for long, because when you start, you find a way to keep building that momentum. I promise you. You could even start with, if you want to start cooking, maybe sometimes it's just going in the kitchen and saying, I don't want to eat the same thing. I'm going to just make something up. It's creative. It may not taste great, but it'll give you the boost to just get your body moving and get activated. You just have to start. You don't have to think about the end. Just think about taking that first step.
That was awesome. Thank you, Dre. So another question is, what advice do you have for individuals going into their senior year?
Ooh, so we have a freshman and now we have a senior. Well, I know what senior year is like. You have a lot of different voices. What are you going to do? You only have a year. What are you going to do after? It's a lot of pressure. And what I would say to all my rising seniors is to take a moment and reflect on all the amazing things you've been able to accomplish in your first 3 years of high school. Give yourself some grace in setting goals for the next year, because you're going to have a lot of people who are going to ask you really, really big questions, and you may not know the answer, or you may still be thinking things through. So giving yourself credit for how far you've come is a great way to start, and know that if I could do all that I've done in 3 years, I know I'm going to kill senior year. I'm going to slay it. So I would say, take it easy, enjoy yourself. It goes by so quickly. I remember my senior year and it was like that. And I looked back, it went from first day to prom. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm about to be out of high school. So slow down, take it one day at a time, enjoy it, and make memories. Remember, your senior year is the closing of a chapter and the starting of another. So just make some memories to take with you.
That's great advice, especially with me going into my senior year. The final question we have is, what are some experiences you've had in which you may have been treated differently because of your gender or race?
Oh, wow. Well, one that I'm really familiar with, that has always been a big thing for me is my hair. So, I've been working with Dove for a long time. And when the Crown Act came along, I was really inspired because I remember growing up and wanting to experiment with my hair. I love doing hair. It's one of my favorite things. And I do remember when I would go to school feeling like, well, I want to wear my hair like this, but I don't want anyone to say anything because I knew that I didn't want to be a distraction, or I felt like there were unspoken rules that you couldn't do certain things. And I didn't learn until I got much older that there are a lot of other cultures that weren't feeling that same pressure. And so, I've had a very versatile career, and I've worked in different places, and I have been blessed to be accepted for my individuality. But I always knew that there were others that didn't have that flexibility and that freedom. And so I always remembered feeling that pressure and knowing that I wanted to turn that experience into a means of freeing other women, giving them allegiance together to bond and to accept themselves. And so, yeah, I remember that being something really powerful in my life. And I wanted to figure out a way to relieve people of that pressure. And that's what I do now. So.
Dre, thank you so much for your thoughts today. You've given us a lot to feel confident about and lots to think about for the weeks ahead. Thanks for always being such a great partner to the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. It's been my pleasure. I want to leave you all with up this session. You have a long time before we might see each other in person. So let's work on something that we can do in this isolated state. How about we take a week and challenge ourselves to eliminate body talk and negative self-criticism? That's that, oh my God, I look so fat. Oh, did you see my face on that Zoom? Let's cut it out. I challenge you to embrace that. If it takes a few days to get used to it, take your time. Get your family and friends involved too. It can be a group thing. And you can also challenge yourself day by day just to pull some of the tips we talked about today into your life. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. I'm rooting for you. We got this, y'all.
Thank you so much, Dre. This was an absolute pleasure. Your energy is infectious just watching the comments come in through the chat box. Our Keystone teams are so incredibly grateful. Thank you again to Dre and of course to Dove for helping us facilitate such a wonderful session, of course, with really thoughtful questions from you all. Before we wrap up the session, thank you to the Smart Girls here and our moderators for joining this session. Just want to note the next Keystone session will begin promptly at 4:15 p.m. The link should be on your computer screens now. We appreciate it and have a great Friday afternoon.